Hello, dear learners. Welcome to Jerrin's Lit World. This is going to be a coaching place or a coaching ground for you to be preparing for the UGC NET exam. I myself have cracked the NET exam in July 2019, and the preparations that I've been doing for it for about 6 months prior to the examination have helped me a lot. Even though I was preparing for the exam for 2 years while I was pursuing my master's degree, I could not crack the exam any of those times because I found that later that there was some fault in the way that I prepared for the exam. So you need to work hard, but you also need to work smart. So the coaching place for which I went for my UGC NET exam was the ground where I was able to relearn about the NET exam, what all aspects we need to focus upon, and how to prepare ourselves for it. So each of us are very unique. We have our unique learning styles, the unique way of learning, the unique way of understanding, and how we categorize each things. And as for any literature students, we know that the literature is like a vast ocean. There are many pearls and gems, and some of them would be very close to our heart and some would be very valuable for us, but we may not cherish it all the time. So similarly, for some people poetry would be like very close to their heart, but at the same time they might overlook the novelist and the playwrights. And for others, theory might be very interesting while they might overlook the aspect of criticism. Now the trend of the UGC NET exam and the pattern have been changing for over like 2 years from now, 2 years down the line. So we need to be, we need to keep ourselves equipped to face all the questions that would be coming. And I hope that with the training that I'm providing through this platform, Jerrin's Lit World would help you crack the NET exam, which is upcoming. And I hope all these videos would be useful for you. So, since this is our first video together, I thought I'll just give you a brief introduction into one of the major literary group of English literature. Now, as far as literature is concerned, there are various ways of understanding literary works, literary persons. One major way is to categorize them chronologically. We know various writers and writings which were produced during each of the time periods. Like you have something in the medieval period, something in the Renaissance, something in the Enlightenment period, and so on. You have modernist writing, you have postmodern writings, you have structuralist writings. So all sorts of readings could be done. All right. So today, what I'm focusing on here is like a group of writers. Literature is filled with various group of writers. Now, how is the grouping done? The grouping is done based on some common features that all these writers share. So the group that I'm going to be introducing to you today is the University Wits. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the name, but somehow or the other they were not so popular. They were not made as popular as part of the syllabi of most of the postgraduate studies or undergrad studies of English literature for that matter. So I thought I'll delve into that group in this first class together. So I will share you my screen in which I have the PPT of the University with. All right. So this is just going to be our introduction. Okay, I hope the screen is clear. So we'll begin with the name, the origin, and how each of them have a very important role. So the group University Wits. Now, first of all, let's place them in a time period. They belong to the 16th century. Now, there are a lot of specialities related with the 16th century as far as the literature student is concerned. First and foremost is that historically speaking, and by taking up the socio-political condition of England, it was the era of Queen Elizabeth. So 16th century is the era of Queen Elizabeth, and for more passionate readers and writers of literature, it was the era of Shakespeare. So the university which existed, they wrote, they became very popular, and they lived during the 16th century. Now, another major misconception which is popularly related with the university with is to see them as post Shakespeareans or to see them as people who came onto the literary scene after Shakespeare entered. Now, that is a misconception. The university which existed first. They were on the literary scene before Shakespeare came into being. And when you look through the names of the university wits, you would know that most of them were contemporaries of Shakespeare. Yes, that is true. They were all contemporaries of Shakespeare, but they entered the literary scene before Shakespeare had entered. And so we can rightly call them as pre-Shakespeareans. Now, there are 7 of them who are categorized as university wits. Just as the name suggests, university, there has to be something related with university which makes all these seven poets come under the group called as University Wits. And that is their association with the two universities, that is the University of Cambridge and University of Oxford. It said that all these seven of the poets or writers of the University of Its group had some association with the University of Cambridge or the University of Oxford. That was the reason why they were called as the University Wits. But I'll give you one extra information. There are always some exceptions, right? So in the case of University of Wits also, there is an exception. That is, one of the University of Wits did not have any university education, and he was not associated with either of the universities. Now, who is that person? We will see as we go through the next videos, or as we progress, we will see who that is. All right, just keep that in your mind. Finally, the term University of Wits was not coined by them, but it was coined by George Sainsbury. George Sainsbury he was a very popular historian. Now, as a matter of historians, what they do is that they categorize writers based on their unique style, and that is one important thing you need to note about them. All of these writers, they did not work together as a group. Probably when they wrote at different places at different times and different works. But for a historian or a reader who takes up all their works, we are able to find a unique style of writing which makes all of them very comparable and similar, and makes their works very familiar for the readers. And it was this unique style of the university which made all these group of writers, or all these different writers, come together and be part of one single group. And that is the major reason why we have an outsider, a person who is not university education or did not have any university association, to be made part of the group called as the university. All right, so this was just a brief introduction onto who are the university bits. So you should know how to place them as a matter of chronology. You should also know why they are called as the university bits. Another interesting thing which just came up to my mind is that as we move on, like when we reach to the modern period, or when we reach to the 20th century, we will again come across something called as the university bits. But there is an addition to it, that is, they were called as the new university bits. So you have another group coming up after a few centuries which are quite similar with the university bits of the 16th century, but we will know who that is when we reach at that point. All right, so I will just show you who all are the university wits. These are the seven of them: John Lilly, George Peele, Thomas Kidd, Robert Greene, Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Nash, and Thomas Lodge. So these are our seven university wits. Most of them were poets. A lot of them had written many plays, so they were playwrights. They held a very prominent position in the literature, in the literary scene of the 16th century, and hence all of them have made very commendable works into the field of English literature. And therefore I feel that it is very important to just gaze through the major works of all these university wits and to see how they are very important for us as far as literature students are concerned. All right, so this was just a brief introduction to the university wits, and in the upcoming videos we will be knowing more about them, as well as extra information regarding English literature also. So keep on loving literature, and please, if you like the video, please do like and subscribe to my channel, Jerrin's Lit World. Keep loving literature. Thank you.